Hello, my crafty friends. Thanks so much for joining me today. Well, I am going to show you the Mother's Day card that I created for my mom this year. And it's not so much of a card as it is a pop-up basket. I have some beautiful new products from the Scrappy Tails shop. And these are what I'm going to use to create this card today. These will be my sentiments. It's called the Mother's Day Sentiment Circles. And then this little sentiment is so cute. It says, "You are beautiful." I'm going to use these gorgeous butterflies. They're called the flying butterflies and the sitting butterflies, and they have the outline dies to them. I'll show you what they look like in just a minute. And then I'm going to use the basket pop-up card set to make my basket. These are so well thought out, and I'll show you all of the pieces cut out here in just a minute. This can also be folded into a pop-up card, so you can mail this out flat in the mail, and then when you open it, it pops up into this beautiful basket. I die cut my pieces with purple and light purple and dark purple cardstock, and all of the butterflies I'm going to use. But look how they layer, and you can just see the color through the outline die. I cut out the butterflies outline dies with black cardstock. These are the sitting butterflies, and then there are two of the flying butterflies. Aren't those just pretty? So I wanted to show you all of the pieces before I start assembling my basket. I cut out this sentiment with gold, and it just says, "I love you, Mom." This one says, "Happy Mother's Day." And here's the one that says, "You are beautiful." So they make really unique Mother's Day sentiments. This will be the handle to the basket. And then I have all of these little inserts to put inside the basket. And that will be the trim for the outside of my basket. So let's start assembling this. I'm going to glue the butterflies together first. And I'm just going to put little dots of glue. And then I can just put them over the colored cardstock. I didn't put glue on the antennae because I wanted the orange to show through a little bit from behind the black. I think that one is my favorite of all of them. I'll put an acrylic block on top of it just to hold it in place while it dries. I glued the rest together off camera. And then for the pretty trellis pieces, I'm going to use my dot liner for these. But look how cute they look on the outside of the basket. And there is another decorative piece that you can use, or you can just use plain cut out pieces of cardstock to decorate the outsides. I was thinking about using my liquid glue, but then I decided on the dot liner. These will go a lot faster this way. And the dot liner will just hold on to the paper. There won't be stickiness in between or in the little trellis holes. So this just worked out nice and fast. These baskets are really easy to put together. They may look intimidating, but once you put the first one together, then you get the idea of what you're doing, and they go really fast after that. I'll speed this up and just adhere all of the trellis pieces. These dies are nice because they also score, so you don't have to score your pieces to get them to fold. Okay, let's put this together. I'm going to bend all of the scored impressions on these pieces. And then I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided adhesive to put these baskets together, but I'm going to lay them down flat. I found this to be the easiest way to do it. So let's pull out the double-sided adhesive. You could use liquid glue as well. It's just whatever you prefer, and I use a combination of both. So it really doesn't matter. And I'm putting a piece of adhesive on the flaps on each piece. I'm going to use my all-in-one tool to peel off the release paper. And then I can line them up, make sure they're straight, and just press them into place. I'll do the same thing with the other side. And isn't that super cute? I just love it. Now let's put on the handle to the basket. I want this to be really tall, so I'm going to glue it on kind of at the top of the basket. If you're going to put this in an envelope, it'll fit into an A7 sized envelope, and you're going to want to have your envelope out on your desk with you. This will give you a good idea of how tall the basket handle and all of the elements that you're going to be gluing inside the basket need to be. However, I'm not going to fold mine up this time. I'm going to send this to my mom in a box. She lives out of state. However, the folded ones are really fun too because they are such a nice surprise to get this card that pops up once you open up the envelope and have this delightful little basket inside. These are the little insert pieces. They're scored, and I'm going to fold them on their score lines. I'll put these longer pieces in first, but I'm going to bend them in place. And then I'll add a little bit of liquid adhesive to the tabs. And these, once you put these in your basket, it's going to look like an X inside your basket, but you're going to want to put them in the corners. I think the liquid glue in this instance helped me out because I can wiggle them around to the height that I want them inside the basket. So I'll put the first one in a corner, I'll skip a corner, and then put the second one in that corner. Sorry, I'm kind of off camera here, but I'm just going to hold these in place until the glue dries. I'll give you a better look here in just a minute. There's half of my X. And you can put these anywhere on whatever corners you want. So there's what it looks like. I'm just kind of holding them in place. And now for the second piece. I'll add a little bit of liquid glue and just glue them in the opposite corner. And then make sure that they're right up in the corner so that if you do want to bend this and put it in an envelope, it will bend just right. Okay, so here's my X. I'll give you a better look at it. Can you see how it kind of makes an X in the middle? And now for the smaller tabs, and these are going to go in one corner, or on one edge, I should say. I'll show you here. You can see how that bends. So simple. Okay, so let's fold. I'm just going to use 2 of these smaller inserts. And again, I'm folding the tabs and I'll add a little bit of liquid adhesive. And then this just goes over one side and I'm just tucking it in the corner. So like I said, after you've made up one, you'll be a pro at it. It's so easy. I'm going to add one more shorter tab on the opposite side. I cut out quite a few just in case. Let's put this 4th tab in. And these are just going to give you places to adhere the butterflies and the flowers and whatever you want to glue to your basket. Okay, it is ready to fill up now. Isn't that super cute? So I decided to make up a bunch of die-cut flowers using this beautiful set here. It's called the Whimsical Layering Daisies. I made a card with these a few weeks ago, and I'll link to that at the end of this video. But I made up a bunch of these pretty daisies, and I also cut out some stiff acetate into strips. These are going to be the holders for all of my elements, but first let's put a little bit of grass in this basket. For that one, I used the Slimline Everyday Borders die set. And these are all from Scrappy Tails Crafts. You'll find the most beautiful dies there. So I bent my grass piece in half and I just glued it in with more of the liquid adhesive. And I'm just putting it in one half of the X. And I'll do the same with the other piece of grass. I measured it out before I did this. Look how cute that looks. So a little glue at the bottom edge. And I'll put this one in on the opposite side. Okay, now we're ready to move on to our flowers and our butterflies. So I'm using some more of the double-sided adhesive to adhere the butterflies. I fussed with the positioning of my butterflies and flowers a lot. And when I started adhering the flowers, I didn't add the acetate to them. I thought they'd be fine just on their stems. But I later came back in and added acetate behind the flowers because they were kind of drooping. You can also use strips of cardstock to adhere your elements inside the basket. And I start doing that with more of the flowers. But look how fun that is. Let's add another butterfly, and I'm just putting things in every direction. I do end up making up more daisies than what you see here. I just wanted it just filled with flowers. And now for the sentiment. I was just going to use the one that says, "I love you, Mom." And I'll adhere that kind of high up in the basket. But I do come in with another sentiment. I love the one that says just "Happy Mother's Day." So I add that one too. And now for the third butterfly. I want to have this butterfly alighting onto one of the flowers. So I'll just kind of position the die cut in front of this daisy. Isn't that cute? So as you see, I added my second sentiment, and now for more of the daisies. These I'm just going to pop in the basket with the cardstock strips. I just used my paper trimmer and cut out a bunch of green cardstock. And then I'm just going to fill this completely up with daisies. You really can't go wrong with adhering things in this basket because it's just going to look cute in the end. Some of my stems I trim off at the bottom just because they're a little bit too long. I'll have all of the links to these products listed in the description box below, as well as over at my blog. I also have still shots of this basket over at my blog. So here is the finished basket. I added a bow, and in the still shot you'll see that I did add one more daisy really tall in the front of the card. I just couldn't stop adding stuff to it. It was so much fun. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you all have a fun, crafty day. And happy Mother's Day coming up soon to all of you. Take care. Bye.